Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
What is up, you guys? Welcome to the stream as the New York Mets finish out their series with the Arizona Diamondbacks here at Citi Field this afternoon. Game 3, the rubber match between these two teams as the Mets drop a tough one on Wednesday night by a final score of 4-3. Unable to complete the ninth inning rally as they had the bases loaded with nobody out. Can only scratch across one run on the Jesse Winker fielder's choice, and then Francisco Alvarez grounding out to end that one. So disappointing loss last night, but Mets still with an opportunity to take the series here against Arizona with Kodai Senga on the mound. What's up, guys? I'm Tony Metro. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. I do daily Mets content. We do pregame, postgame stream recaps. We also do a bunch of content throughout the day and post it here on YouTube. So be sure to leave this video a like. It's free for you and it goes a long way toward helping the channel. I really appreciate it. You can also follow me on all my other accounts on social media platforms, including Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, where I post more content as well. Also, by the way, I want to mention you guys can call into any of my live streams right down here on this Discord link. Just hop in there. We're still working out some of the kinks, but we're going to hopefully make this into a live call-in show in the future as we continue to grow the channel. So appreciate that very much. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into it. The Mets looking to take Game 3 of this series with the Diamondbacks and take 2 out of 3 before heading back out on the road. They begin a 6-game road trip in St. Louis tomorrow evening and then actually go to Arizona to take on the Diamondbacks in Phoenix. So Kodai Senga on the mound for the Mets. He'll be taking on Zach Gallen. But before that, we have some housekeeping things we need to go over. The Mets, with a flurry of roster moves, of course, we know the bullpen is in a total flux right now. A lot of injuries to discuss. It all began last Saturday when A.J. Minter suffered the pain in his lat and was consequently put on the 15-day injured list. It now sounds like he may have to go get season-ending surgery. He received another MRI on Wednesday. They said they haven't got the results of that yet, so it kind of seems like they're just prolonging the inevitable at this point. And unfortunately, it also happens exactly to be the timing when the other lefty in the Mets bullpen, Danny Young, was placed on the 15-day injured list with an elbow sprain. They're now thinking that may require season-ending Tommy John surgery. So, of course, yesterday we know that the Mets trying to stick with their regular rest, especially in favor of Kodai Senga, had a bullpen game. Huascar Brazoban started it, but the bulk guy, again, a new baseball term I haven't heard before, was Brandon Waddell, and he was fantastic. 4 1/3 scoreless innings, and his trophy or treat for doing that was to get sent back down to AAA. Now, this isn't obviously punishment or anything. This was just a simple matter of having fresh arms for today. With the Mets so devoid of having fresh, healthy arms to pitch out of the bullpen, it only made sense that the Mets would option Waddell down to AAA. They also optioned Chris Davinsky back down to Syracuse. He pitched 2 innings yesterday. The 9th inning did not go as well as the 8th inning as he gave up 2 insurance runs to the Diamondbacks, and that, of course, was the ultimate difference in that one. But the question still remains why the Mets have not given Dednell Nunez the call. Carlos Mendoza was actually asked about that in his pregame presser today. Go ahead, give this a listen.
Was there any consideration to bringing up Dednell Nunez? I noticed he hadn't pitched in a number of days, so is everything okay?
Yeah, definitely. But he will continue to be in the conversation, but we want to make sure that when he does comes up, we want to keep him for a long time, for as long as possible. And there could potentially be a couple of them move in the next couple of days. So, but he's definitely in the conversation, and I'm pretty sure we will see him shortly here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little alarming. A guy that was arguably the Mets' most important reliever at the midpoint last season is not getting the call here. Now, we know the Mets wanted to delay him during spring training and getting ramped up. But again, we thought it was going to be only about 2 weeks. It's now been a full month into the season. The stuff is there. He's touching 99 with his fastball, and yet the Mets still have not given him the call. That reporter actually mentioned that Nunez has not pitched in a couple of days, which would make sense that he'd be available and ready to give them some length out of the bullpen here over the next few days while they're working through all these injuries. we know there's going to be a lot of roster machinations here over this next week as they try to figure things out. Like I said, I am pretty certain that AJ Minter will not pitch again this year. It sounds the same for Danny Young. So the Mets do need to keep a fresh amount of arms in their bullpen for the next week. They're playing 13 games over the next 13 days. It's the second time they have had to do it already early in this season. So we're starting to see that bullpen leak a little bit. Unfortunately, it happened to be in the form of injuries to their 2 lone southpaws out of the pen. So very unfortunate. We know that Waddell Davinsky optioned and the Mets brought up Tyler Adcock, and they also brought up Genesis Cabrera to replace them, at least for today, and we'll see how far they do continue with this team. Genesis Cabrera was a minor league signing this offseason, had a pretty solid season with Toronto last year. His FIP suggested maybe he didn't pitch as well, but he's had a decent career, started out with the St. Louis Cardinals as a flamethrower, and then Tyler Adcock pitched for the Mets in some short spurts last year out of the bullpen. Not great results for him, but again, this is just about having fresh arms available. Of course, Brandon Waddell, after going 4 1/3 yesterday, wouldn't be able to pitch today, and you probably could make the same case for Chris Davinsky after pitching 2 innings yesterday, and that coming after he took an Uber all the way from Syracuse down to Queens and arrived at game time right around when the Mets' first pitch was thrown against the Diamondbacks yesterday. So obviously, it was a very long day for him. It kind of showed in the 9th inning when he kind of coughed up those 2 runs. But regardless, it's going to be something to keep an eye on. I think we are going to see a rotating group of arms in this bullpen for the next week or so until the Mets figure things out. Maybe there's a signing out there. Maybe it is David Robertson like I have been pining for. I'm not sure if he even wants to pitch in the big leagues anymore at this point. He's 40 years old, but last year, really solid numbers, an exact 3.00 ERA in 72 innings. His FIP was even lower, so I personally think that'd be a great signing if he is interested in continuing his major league career. But this is what David Stearns has preached since he became the president of baseball operations for the Mets, and that is having organizational depth from the minors in the lowest levels to the AAA levels where you stock talent away. It's those signings in the offseason where we roll our eyes and say, Genesis Cabrera, are you kidding me? Or in the starting rotation case, Griffin Canning. Now look what we're saying about Griffin Canning. So hopefully the Mets have enough depth to overcome this little bump in the road right now as they try to figure out the health of their bullpen and find some stability. So again, not super concerned about what the Mets are doing here in this afternoon particularly. I'm more concerned just about the overall long-term stability of this bullpen. So we will see how all that plays out. But let's get to today's matchup. The Mets, again, trying to take 2 out of 3 from the Diamondbacks. Last night was a tough one, 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. That was very frustrating. A little bit of a different lineup here today. The top 3, as usual, stay the same. Lindor, Soto, Alonso. Jesse Winker is in there hitting cleanup against the righty. Mark Vientos hits 5th, followed by Brandon Nimmo, who is back in the lineup after he was battling some flu-like symptoms over the last 2 days. They actually sent him home on Tuesday night. Yesterday he was in the dugout, and he also did pinch hit, but was 0 for 1. Luis Torrens gets the start behind the plate. Kind of a rough day for Francisco Alvarez yesterday, I got to say. I liked his at-bat. I think it was in maybe the 5th where he worked a walk, but then the strikeout in the 7th and then another one in the 9th, a ground out in the 9th to end the game where he expanded the zone a little bit, took a really good first pitch right down the middle from the Diamondbacks reliever there that I thought he could have done some damage on. So a little worried about his approach at the plate lately. You could kind of say the same for Mark Vientos. I don't think he had a great at-bat in the 9th last night either, but he did have the solo homer in the game earlier in the 3rd, so you can't be too hard on him. Rounding out the lineup, Jeff McNeil is back in there at second base today, so no Luis Angel Acuna, and then Tyrone Taylor, as we know, going to get the majority of starts in center field with Jose Siri down. He is starting to heat up. He has brought his average up to 222. 592 OPS still leaves a lot to be desired, but did have that home run last night in the 9th. That kind of got things going to cut the lead down to 2. So Kodai Senga is going to make the start, and he has just been otherworldly for the Mets so far this year. He is absolutely killing it, coming off a start against the Nationals where he went 6 innings, allowed just 2 runs on 6 hits while striking out 5 Nationals. And he has just been great. I mean, what more could you ask for? He's now gotten that pitch count elevated. He went 96 pitches in his previous start against the Nats. We know coming into the year, the Mets were pretty gung-ho about making sure that he was staying around that 75 pitch limit his first few times through the rotation. We know since the Mets signed Senga in 23, and even more so after missing basically all of 2024, they're hyper concerned about keeping him on that extended 6 days of rest, or I guess 5 days of rest, going every sixth day as opposed to the typical 5-man rotation. So that was the reason for Waddell and the bullpen game yesterday. But now it looks like he's starting to get his pitches elevated. He threw exactly 77 pitches his first 2 starts of the year, then up to 79 in his third start, and then 89 his second to last time out versus the Cardinals, all the way up to 96 against the Nationals as he completes 6 innings for the second time this year. So Senga has been great. I mean, what more could you ask for? 1.26 ERA. Career against the Diamondbacks, not a lengthy one by any means as we pull it up over here. But guys, be sure to leave a comment here. What do you guys think? Sound off in the chat. What is your prediction for this game? Are you feeling a letdown after last night, the way the Mets bats couldn't come through, the bullpen being taxed so much lately? Or do you think the Mets are going to pull it out, win 2 out of 3, and head back out on the road for their upcoming trip? Let's pull up his stats career-wise against the Arizona Diamondbacks. I don't think he has had too many starts against them. He has 2 career appearances against the D-backs. 2-0 with a 0.54 ERA. Wow. Okay, so really good numbers for Senga against Arizona. 0.64 ERA. Sorry, my eyes betrayed me here. Over 14 innings, allowed just 6 hits, 1 earned run over that time, and 22 strikeouts. So really good career numbers against the D-backs, but both of those coming in 2023, his rookie season in Major League Baseball, of course, because we know he didn't pitch at all in the big leagues last year other than that 1 start against Atlanta and then in the postseason. So those all came in 2023. It's a very different Diamondbacks team right now from that one. Let's take a look at their lineup, the one that he'll be taking on, and then we'll get into Zach Gallen a little bit, who will be opposing Senga on the mound here today. And guys, like I said, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new for daily Mets content. For streams, you can call into the stream right here at this Discord link. You just pop that into your browser or on your phone, and you could be a part of this conversation. I'll take your call, and we can have a good discussion about the Mets. We're hoping to make that work here. It's still, like I said, kind of in its infancy phase, so we're working on things with it, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun when it does start rolling. So let's take a look at the lineup for the Diamondbacks today. You have Corbin Carroll leading off. Hasn't done a whole lot to hurt the Mets so far this series, but the next guy in their lineup has, and that's Geraldo Perdomo. He's getting the start at shortstop. He had the pinch hit 2-run single yesterday, added a sacrifice fly in the 9th against Davinsky, also had a hit on Tuesday night against the Mets. After that, Smith is at first base. Pavin Smith, who's got an OPS over 1,000, couple of home runs this year. Always dangerous, Josh Naylor is DHing and hitting cleanup. Eugenio Suarez has not had a big series, but a power threat. He is hitting 5th and playing 3rd base. Lourdes Gurriel Jr., really tough start to the year for him, but he is hitting 6th in this lineup, playing left field. Thomas is out in center field, hitting 7th. Tawa, the light-hitting second baseman, is 8th. And then the catcher behind the plate is Herrera, rounding things out for the Diamondbacks. So taking a look now at their starter on the mound, and that is Zach Gallen, who had a couple really solid seasons for the Diamondbacks ever since getting traded there from Miami, but this year has not been the case. If you look back a couple years ago, he was a Cy Young contender with the Diamondbacks. He got votes in 2022, finished in 5th place. In 2020, finished in 9th place. In 2022, he finished in 3rd place, was an all-star that year, but so far this year, it's been a bit of a struggle. So far in 6 starts, has a 5.57 ERA. His last time out for the D-backs, he pitched against, if I can find it, hold please. His last time out, he pitched against Atlanta, so our dreaded rival, the Braves. He went 5 innings, gave up 3 earned runs, and took the loss in that one. Prior to that, though, really roughed up by a dangerous Chicago Cubs offense where he lasted 6 innings but gave up 6 earned runs on 7 hits and 2 walks in the process. So it has not been a great start for Zach Gallen, but we know the pedigree is there. He's got good stuff. He has done it before. So the Mets are going to have to come out today, and they're going to have to immediately put some runs on the board, if you ask me. Obviously, yesterday leaves a really bad taste in our mouths as Mets fans going 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. You know, we enter that game yesterday, and if you had asked me, hey, you know, or if you told me the Mets are going to lose today, I would have said, fine, totally understand. We're pitching a bullpen game with a guy that has not pitched in the big league since 2021, and we're going against former Cy Young Award winner Corbin Burnes. Okay. But the Mets had every opportunity to win that game. It starts in the first inning. Bases loaded against Corbin Burnes. He can't control his stuff. He's getting frustrated at the home plate umpire. The Mets come away with nothing. They get a strikeout from Starling Marte and then a ground out from Jeff McNeil to end the inning. For the most part, Burnes kind of cruised from there. He gave up the solo home run to Vientos. That's how the game lasted until the 7th when the Diamondbacks broke through. And then in the 9th, the more poor situational hitting continues as the Mets can't get a base knock with the bases loaded and nobody out. They finish 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. I would like to see the Mets come out today and just absolutely obliterate Zach Gallen and the Diamondbacks pitching staff. I mean, I could say that every day about every game, but when you had a game like you did yesterday where the Diamondbacks were basically begging you to take it, where you knocked their closer out in the 9th inning and they have to put in another reliever who's not accustomed to finishing games like that. The Mets had that one and they fumbled it. So today, would really like to see the Mets lineup come out and put some big numbers up on the board. And it starts with Juan Soto. I mean, look, the guy keeps hitting hard outs. Exit velos of 112 yesterday. It was the hardest hit ball yesterday, and it just happened to be at somebody's glove. The frustration looks like it's creeping in. I don't love the body language I've seen some from Soto. I would love to see a big game from him, a couple of extra base hits, and hopefully finally that first Citi Field home run as a Met. I think it would do so much for his confidence right now. I think it would do a lot for the Mets fans who are on his back to get them off of it a little bit. So hopefully that's the case today. I think Senga is going to have another good start. This is a pretty good Diamondbacks lineup, even though we haven't seen it a whole lot so far this series so far. But I do believe Senga will continue his string of really strong starts here. It's going to be up to the Mets offense to break through against Zach Gallen. And it's been happening this year, so it's definitely possible. They just can't have that magic, big, important hit elude them the way that it did on Wednesday night. If all of that goes to plan, I think the Mets win this one. They take 2 out of 3. All from yesterday is forgiven, and they can head back out on the road beginning tomorrow to start their series with the St. Louis Cardinals. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section. What's your prediction for this game? Give me a final score. Give me a final line for Kodai Senga in this one, and who will be the Mets MVP on offense? Or conversely, who do you think is going to be the dog of this game? Come up in a big spot, unable to get it done. Does Senga not have a good performance today and puts the Mets in an early hole? I don't think that will be the case. I do believe the Mets come out and win this one today, but I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comments section below. And like I said, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We'll have a post-game recap after the Mets and Diamondbacks conclude this afternoon. Hopefully a happy recap where the Mets have taken 2 out of 3 from Arizona and head out to St. Louis. But guys, leave this video a like. I really appreciate it. It goes a long way toward helping the channel and keeping things going over here. We will talk to you later this afternoon at the conclusion of Mets and Diamondbacks. Until then, I'm Tony Metro, and stay true to the orange and blue.